So today we're going to be doing some testing. We're kind of wondering if we really need bump stop extensions. We have some issues with them that we'll kind of address today, talk about, and then we'll kind of give you an overall our opinion on what we think of the bump stop extensions and the limit straps after having them on here for a while. It's been over a year. Give you guys some feedback with it, what we think of it, and then we're going to see if we can make a decision on whether we want to keep them on or get rid of them, either the bump stop extensions altogether or just the limit straps. So the main real purpose of bump stop extensions, it doesn't give you a lift. What it allows is if you have a complete air system failure to where you're on bump stops for whatever reason, that you have oversized tires, that you will be able to drive off the trail. You won't, without tearing up your fenders, flares, or liners. If you run oversized tires and you do have a complete air system failure, it goes down on the bump stops, which is fully compressed airbags. You could do some damage. If you're running stock tires, it's not an issue. Now, with that being said, we've never had a complete air system failure where it goes down to fully deflation. We have had on other Land Rovers that we have where it goes into only normal height is allowed. It won't do any off-road height, but no system complete air loss. I've heard some having going on bump stops due to ABS sensors. If you have a aftermarket like a Gap ID tool, and there's some other ones out there, you can force the system to bypass that air and still raise you and get you off the trail. So keep that in mind. Again, that's the biggest benefit of bump stop extensions. Some of the things that we notice with them, because it's pushing that airbag down for further down, it doesn't seem to require as much air to get the vehicle at a certain height. So the airbags are a little bit softer, which makes for a softer ride on the road. Maybe not as sporty feeling, but we're running oversized tires as well, so we're not really concerned about that. There is some better, I guess, smoother ride on the trail than when we took my daughter's LR4 with just standard air suspension. But neither of them are bad. It's very minute. There's the idea that you'll have less air pressure into the airbag, so it may articulate a little better. That's yet to be proven because we don't have another LR3 to compare it to. They did some changes to the LR4 stiffer sway bars, so that could affect that. So I really wouldn't want to compare the two that way. But overall, no disappointments in the airbags, more with the limit straps. As you'll see later on in the video, we have some wearing, just making contact at certain points. So that's why we're wanting to see if we really need it. So let's get started. We decided to pull the LR4 up on the ramps just to kind of see how it flexes. This is a completely stock factory suspension, no lift rods or anything. It does have slightly oversized tires, maybe by ½ inch to an inch taller. Other than that, completely stocked. And you can see that it flexes just fine. Is able to do the same size ramps. There's a little bit of struggle maybe, but that could be due to the tires, and this one does not have a rear locker on it. But they were both in rock crawl mode, so the suspension is set to flex as much as possible. But yeah, overall it did fine too. It's really hard to tell. We thought, just looking at it, it might be leaning a little bit more to the driver. That could be the stiffer sway bars or just more air in the airbags. But yeah, you can see how it flexes just as much. The bump stops did not give us any extra flex. All right, so now we have the LR3 in the shop, and Keane's going to pull these wheels off, just one side for now, and we're just going to see what we can tell. We're going to disconnect the limiting straps and then check for any kind of axle binding. And
make some decisions, but see if we can do some measurements, maybe cycle the suspension. We're trying to decide. We may try to just remove the bump stops and do some testing like that. But yeah, stay tuned. Let's get these wheels off.
That seems like a lot. It looks like quite a bit of distance.
All right, so we took a measurement from the same point down to the center of the hub with the limit strap on there, and we got 25¼ inches. So that's fully extended with a limit strap. We took the limit strap off, did the same thing, and we only gained 1 inch, exactly 1 inch more droop. But the problem is this upper control arm, you can see where it starts digging into the housing. So we gain 1 inch of droop, which isn't very much, but we run the risk of damaging the strut. So, and
slight axle binding.
We did get some slight axle binding, just on rotation. So we're just gonna put the wheel back on there and check for, make sure we're still not getting any binding here. But definitely if you're running the bump stops on the front, you're gonna want the straps on there. Okay, we're gonna throw this wheel on there. Okay, with the limit straps on there, there is absolutely no axle binding. So definitely if you're running your front bump stops, extensions, you're going to want to run the limit straps. All right, we're going to do a similar test on the rear. Okay, so we got the rear here, and this is where our big concern is, because as you can see, it's rubbing on the tire. So the inside of the tire rubs against that. It's not ideal. We have it turned all the way, clocked all the way forward, so it pulls it as far forward that way as possible. And then here you can see how it fits over the bracket. Not much else we can do with that. It really needs to be attached probably somewhere up here. But yeah, that's one of the things we want to do, is see if there's a better way to mount it. So let's take some measurements and go from there. Okay, so we got the limit strap removed. We got it fully drooped, and surprisingly we gained 1.5 inches of additional travel, so droop. Now, with the straps it was 28 inches total extension. Without the straps it's 29.5, so 1.5 inches. Now a couple issues. So you can obviously see the strap, it's worn there, it's rubbing there. Fully extended, gained 1.5 inches, but I hadn't even tested the axle. You can see how close it's actually, the boot is rubbing on it, the lower control arm. And look in the back, pretty steep angles. The other concern is this upper control arm is actually making contact with the lower control arm. I tried just sliding a piece of paper between the two and it won't go through, so it is making contact, so that would be a problem. Obviously angle boots. I'll try just turning off the parking brake and seeing if we feel axle binding. I'm sure probably gonna feel something. Big concerns that control arm though. You would have probably some issues there. All right, I'm gonna try to put the wheel on and see if we can feel any binding. All right guys, so we have the limit strap disconnected from on the rear, and what we're finding, and it may just be with these Yokohamas, we have these sidewall tread, and these are actually rubbing against the can on the strut when it's fully extended. So you can't even tell if there's any axle binding because the tire's binding. So we're gonna slightly tighten or jack up the tire until it doesn't do that, and then we'll see where we're at for axle binding. All right guys, on the rear, the original mounting position for the limit strap is up at the forward top strut bolt, and then all the way down to the nut side of your upper ball joint. And then that limits it to where there's no binding, no contact in the control arm, but as we showed you, the limit strap rubs on the inside of the tire and wheel. So that's kind of a problem. You can also see that it puts tension against your strut. So it's pushing against that air strut, which, you know, the metal can's gonna protect it, but you know, we want to try to reduce any contact points. So what we did, we played around, took some measurements, and what we did is we just loosened this off, spun it so it's clocked more that way, and then we took it and mounted it to the upper, let's see if I can get a good view of it, right there, the upper sway bar link bolt. So that works really good, but my straps are probably about 1/4 inch too long now. I don't have any contact with the tire in this. I don't have any contact. The only thing I don't have any contact on the control arm, so they're not contacting, but it's still about 1/4 inch too much droop, 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch too much droop, to where we're just starting to feel axle binding, which we don't want. So the plan is we're gonna leave it like this because obviously we're rubbing. We'll just be conscious of it. We won't be overextending it under torque until, and then I'm gonna look at ordering some shorter straps and then reconnecting it. And then we're gonna run it for a good year like this, off-roading and on highway, just a good combination. And then we'll get back and let you guys know if that is a weak point down there, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea, how well it's worked out. So we'll definitely eliminate how much wear on the tire and the wheel. We're eliminating the tension or the torque pushed against the strut. So let me get the wheel on this side, and then we'll do the same thing to the other side, and we'll wrap this video up. All right, guys, we got the passenger side rear off, tire. So I just want to show you again. This is how it's mounted. This is how they show it. This bracket's supposed to help push it away from the wheel, keep it from touching it. It's rubbing on the inside of the wheel. You can kind of see how that, it's not the tire, it's the actual wheel. Cleans that dirt right off. This is a factory Land Rover 18-inch wheel, and then we're attached up there. So I'm gonna take this off, I'm gonna take some measurements, and then we're gonna pivot this in and move this down to that sway bar link bolt right there. Again, these are a little bit long, so I'm just gonna take some measurements, get it on there. This would be better than if it dropped all the way down, because then we'd have more contact issues and more binding. We just won't, we'll not overextend it until we get some new straps on there. So, sorry, it's blurry. All right, so obviously these straps are a little bit long, so we'll get some new ones on order that's gonna be the right length as estimated, and then we'll test out this and see how she works. We'll do some off-roading and kind of stress it out, see, and we'll get back to you guys and give some feedback. But let me get this strap off, repositioned, relocated, and reattached. All right, so I got the passenger side strap relocated. You can see, again, to the front shock tower, strut tower bolt, and then down to the upper sway bar link. It's hard to see, but it's in there, right there. So again, this is just something that we're gonna try. I don't recommend anybody doing this, because right now with the current length of the straps, it does bind the axle slightly. So we're going to order some custom link straps that are gonna be a little shorter, and we're gonna test it out, maybe get a couple different sizes, test out, see if we can find the best one. And then we're gonna run it and do some off-roading, some good flexing, and see how, make sure that sway bar link is gonna be strong enough for an anchor point for that limit strap. It's tied directly to the lower control arm, so I don't see it being a problem. But again, we want to test it out and see. But yeah, kind of wrap up the video. We started this with the question, are limit straps really necessary with the bump stop extension on a Land Rover? And the answer is yes. Now, can we improve on those limit straps? I think so. On the front, we're in pretty good shape. Not much we can do up there, but the back, and that was our concern. That's one of the reasons why we were considering on removing the bump stops altogether, or at least the limit straps, because it was always rubbing on his wheel. So I know some people on some forums have said they put wheel spacers on there. We're trying not to do that at this point.
Eventually, maybe with other modifications, we might end up doing it, but it shouldn't need those. These are factory Land Rover wheels, so shouldn't be an issue. The rear, you need it for multiple reasons: axle binding, strut tire contact, and control arms will contact each other too. The upper and lower control arms will contact themselves on the front. Now, this tire size that we're running is LT 275 65 18. Now, a lot of guys do LT 265, but these are 275, so they are slightly wider. He doesn't have any rubbing other than on that limit strap, and the limit strap wasn't rubbing on the tire, it was rubbing on the wheel and on the shock tower. Now, if without a limit strap, if we fully let it droop, the tire will rub on this can. So keep that in mind. It's probably not an issue if you're running a 265. And on the front, turning and cycling, he's never rubbed anything on his tires. So that's what we're running. That's what we're going off of. So I think I'm going to wrap it up for this video. Stay tuned for when we get the new limit straps, and we'll get those installed and maybe go do some off-roading and flexing and show you guys how it works. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.